There are mornings when your body wakes before your soul does. You rise, but something deep within still feels buried in yesterday's silence. It can feel like failure, but it isn't. It's invitation. God's message today is not try harder, but let me stir what you think has gone quiet. His divine power is not limited by your numbness. Psalm 91 declares, "He that dwell in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." That promise covers even your silence. Rest is not weakness, it is belonging. You are not spiritually broken, you are being awakened. Trust in God is not a spiritual performance, it's the quiet courage of surrender. Even when you feel spiritually asleep, the God who never slumbers is still whispering your name. Lay down the pressure to ignite yourself. You don't have to be on fire to be held. The shepherd never sleeps. He is already moving within you. Let your heart pray, "Jesus, I feel numb, but I believe you are near." I lay down the need to perform and ask you to breathe life into what feels dead inside. Stir me gently, hold me steadily, and lead me in your timing. I trust your voice, even if I can't yet feel it. Amen. Before you rush into the day, breathe. This is your space to receive, not achieve. Today is not about proving faith. It is about trusting God's message, that His grace is enough. You are not behind. You are being prepared. You are not disqualified. You are being invited. He who stirred life in dead places is stirring your soul now. Even numbness is not too hard for Him. God does not measure your fire, He ignites your roots. Awakening often begins in stillness, not in noise. Let this stillness be enough for today. Trust in God is not about feeling ready, it's about remembering that He already is. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Exercising for me today. Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, "You are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you." If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. Sometimes we misjudge silence. We think that because we don't feel spiritual fire or hear heavenly direction, God must be absent. But what if silence is not God's absence? It's His invitation. The world measures growth by noise and motion, but heaven often begins its deepest work in stillness. Psalm 91 doesn't say, "Whoever runs for God will be protected." It says, "Whoever dwells." Dwellers are those who pause, those who remain, those who trust enough to be still. Divine power is not always loud. It can move like breath, unseen but essential. So this morning, let your stillness become sacred ground. Let your lack of clarity become holy space for trust to take root. Ephesians 3:20 declares that God is doing more than we can ask or imagine. That means even now, in your numbness, your slowness, your uncertainty, there is movement. Underground rivers of spiritual awakening are shaping your heart in ways no eye can see. You are not behind, you are being built. God is not waiting for you to become more impressive. He's already working where no one else can see. Dr. Anita Phillips often says that real growth happens not in the victory shout, but in the surrender sigh. It's not in pushing harder, but in laying down control. Stillness isn't giving up, it's giving God space. It's your soul saying, I will not manufacture power, I will receive it. The Spirit of God is moving where your mind has no map. The shepherd who makes us lie down in green pastures is also the one who restores our soul in the quiet. Today, release the pressure to prove your worth by your passion. Let God's grace carry what your strength cannot. Say this morning prayer with open hands. Lord, I don't feel you moving, but I believe you are. I choose to trust that my stillness is not emptiness, but intimacy. You are doing something in me I cannot yet see. Strengthen my faith to believe that your silence is not your absence. This moment, this pause, is not wasted. It is worship. It is alignment. Just because your emotions are quiet doesn't mean God's Spirit is. His whisper often carries more power than your loudest effort. This is the quiet where faith roots itself deeply, not in noise, not in performance, but in surrender. God's message today is not to go faster, but to go deeper. Stillness is not passivity, it is sacred alignment. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High is already under the shadow of the Almighty. Let this stillness be your sacred step toward awakening. Trust that even now, divine power is shaping something eternal within you. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late. You are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. There is a cruel lie that says you should be further along by now, that real faith looks like fire every morning, that others are sprinting into their purpose while you linger in stillness, still unsure, still waiting. But God's message for you today is this: you haven't missed your moment. Divine power doesn't follow your timeline, it follows divine love. And love is never late. Jesus never rushed to prove his power. He waited, he wept, he walked slowly, even when others begged him to hurry. Why? Because glory never panics. Your quiet season is not a setback. It is anointed soil where deeper roots are growing. Psalm 23 reminds us, he leads me beside still waters. God doesn't drag his sheep, he guides them gently. And those who are guided don't fall behind. They're simply being refined. What looks like delay is actually divine design. The shepherd's pace is never careless. It's deliberate. It's intimate. You're not behind. You're being deeply prepared. Lisa Bevere once said that what feels like delay is often disguised discipleship. And Dr. Anita Phillips reminds us that silence is not spiritual failure. It's God working deeply in the dark. You may not feel the fruit yet, but the seed is alive. Trust in God means releasing the timeline you imagined and resting in the path he is personally unfolding. Divine power is not proven by how fast you awaken, but by how fully you trust the one calling you forward. This morning, let go of the race you were never meant to run. Comparison is a thief that blinds you to your own sacred path. Grace is never in a hurry, but it is always on time. You are not lost. You are being led. Say this with your heart wide open. Lord, I've worried that I'm too far behind. I've compared my walk with others, but this morning I give up the race I was never meant to run. I choose trust. I choose to believe that I am in your divine timing, even when I don't feel it. So, This still, quiet moment may not feel like progress, but it may be the birthplace of your greatest transformation. You are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. Your moment is not something you missed. It's something you're being led into, step by step, whisper by whisper. What if today is not about catching up, but about waking up to the truth that God is still writing your story with patience, mercy, and divine intention? They wake up and speak with less hunger and more faith. They wake up and take a stand for helplessness, weakness, and divine intent. Let today be your sacred return to trust. Let this stillness be your brave surrender, and believe with your whole heart, you haven't missed your moment. You're standing in it. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. There's a quiet beauty hidden in Psalm 91:1 that speaks tenderly to the soul that feels unseen, forgotten, or spiritually quiet. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That word shadow isn't about darkness or fear. It's about covering. It means that even when you feel tucked away, uncelebrated, or paused, you are not abandoned. You are under divine protection. You are not lost. You are loved too deeply to be left exposed. There are seasons when God chooses to hide you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You are not in the wilderness by accident. You are in the womb of transformation. And that sacred covering is proof of His presence, not evidence of His absence. Spiritual awakening doesn't begin in the spotlight. It begins in the shadow, in the hidden places where God pulls you away from applause and into alignment, where He writes your identity away from performance and roots it in presence. The world may not see you, but heaven never lost sight of you. T.D. Jakes once said, protection often looks like delay, and sometimes what you call silence is actually God shielding you from battles your soul isn't ready to fight. What feels like being overlooked may actually be divine shelter. Psalm 91's promise is not about pace, it's about proximity. You are under His shadow. You are closer than you know. And Psalm 23 affirms that even in the valley, especially in the valley, the shepherd is near. He doesn't lead you from afar. He walks you through. He covers. He keeps. He sees. You may feel hidden, but you are never unseen. Divine power surrounds you, especially when no one else sees it. You are not required to manufacture a breakthrough. You are invited to remain in the presence of the one who already sees the end from the beginning. This is not a detour. It's divine incubation. So today, let your hiddenness become your confidence. Let His secret place become your strength. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are covered. Pray this slowly. God, I feel hidden. I feel overlooked. But I believe your word when you say I am under your shadow. I choose to dwell, not to run. I choose to stay close even when I don't see the path ahead. Hide me in your presence until the time is right. Amen. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. Before we ask for anything more, let us pause in holy compassion. Not every awakening is for ourselves. Some mornings, the Spirit calls us to rise on behalf of others, to carry, to intercede, to cry out for the innocent and the broken. There are those who wake not with coffee, but with the sound of sirens. Those whose morning light brings no peace, only another day of survival. Those who have never known the safety of Psalm 91's shadow because their sleep has been stolen by trauma, fear, and violence. This morning, our prayer stretches beyond our own hearts. It becomes a bridge, one that carries mercy into war zones, hope into oppression, and love into lives shattered by hate. We do not speak for nations or ideologies. We speak for souls, because God's message today is not political, it is healing. His mercy knows no boundary, no language, no label. Psalm 91 declares, He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. That promise does not stop at the edge of privilege. It reaches into rubble, into refugee tents, into tear-soaked pillows. It covers children whose only lullaby has been fear, mothers whose silence carries unspeakable pain, and the wounded who have never known a world without wounds. So we pray, not with pride, but with intercession. Not with answers, but with ache. Let your heart kneel as you pray this. Lord, we bring to you every soul wounded by violence, every person who wakes up in fear, not by choice, but by circumstance. Shelter the innocent beneath your wings. Bind up the wounds no doctor can heal. Stretch forth your hand of peace in places where hatred has stolen hope. Heal what war has broken. Rebuild what bombs have erased. You are the God of all flesh. No border limits your love. So pour out comfort, justice, and peace where it's needed most. Amen. Trust in God means carrying not just our burdens, but the burdens of others. Because divine power is not limited to our personal healing. It moves outward, stretching into the pain of the world. Spiritual awakening becomes most sacred when it includes holy empathy. And this morning, you are being invited to be that prayer in motion, to let your heart overflow, to become the vessel of mercy someone else is waiting for. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified, I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving, let it lead. Spiritual awakening does not begin with striving, it begins with surrender. We don't scale our way into divine power like climbers ascending a holy summit. We descend into it like a weary swimmer finally letting go, arms stretched wide, trusting the water to hold what strength can no longer carry. This is not weakness, this is worship. And this morning, the Spirit whispers a sacred reversal. Power begins when you stop pushing. Divine power doesn't require your performance. It simply waits for your permission. Not because God is reluctant, but because your heart must open freely. Jesus never said, "Come to me when you have it all together." He said, "Come to me and I will give you rest." Not just sleep, but soul rest. That's what surrender offers. Not escape, but exchange. Not control, but confidence in His character. Dr. Anita Phillips teaches us that healing doesn't start when you prove you're okay. It starts when you let yourself be held. And Psalm 23 paints the same picture. He leadeth me beside still waters. Stillness isn't optional for the soul. It's holy necessity. It's the place where divine power gently meets your humanity. So today, release the guilt of not doing more. Let go of the checklist that says you haven't prayed enough, cried enough, performed enough. The truth is, you were never meant to carry this alone. The grace that awakened the tomb still moves in silence, and the hand that calmed the storm still reaches for yours, not to demand, but to deliver. Trust in God means you stop measuring your worth by spiritual productivity and start resting in divine proximity. You don't climb into God's presence, you collapse into it. You don't impress your way to break through, you surrender into it. Spiritual strength is not proven by your push, it's revealed in your release. And this morning, you are being invited into something stronger than striving. Holy rest. Breathe and pray this slowly. God, I let go. I surrender every pressure, every fear, every attempt to fix myself. I trust that you are enough. I invite your divine power to fill every part of me that I've tried to control. I release it all, and I rest in you. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. There's a whisper that echoes in the quiet places of your soul. You're too weak to be used by God. It comes dressed in false humility, cloaked in shame, and sounds almost convincing. But it's a lie, a subtle, spiritual sabotage that tries to make you believe that your numbness disqualifies you, that your inconsistency makes you unusable, that you have to be strong before God can awaken something in you. But today, heaven speaks a different word. I never asked you to be strong first. I asked you to be willing. Divine power does not begin with accomplishment. It begins with surrender. Scripture doesn't say that God's strength is made perfect in our victories. It says it's made perfect in our weakness. Jesus didn't call the polished, He called the weary. The ones with empty hands, the ones who've run out of performance and have nothing left but a trembling yes. Pope Leo XIV once wrote, "The soul awakened by grace will always rise above the voice of shame." That means the shame in your head is not from God. Silence it, rebuke it, because today God says, even now, I can use you. Even here, I love you. Psalm 91 never required perfection, only dwelling. And Psalm 23 doesn't ask for strength, it promises presence. He walks with you through the valley, not after you've climbed out of it, Divine power is not put off by your fragility. It's attracted to it. Your surrender is the soil where awakening takes root. If you feel too weak today, you're exactly where God can do His deepest work. Weakness isn't your disqualification, it's your doorway. Trust in God means letting go of the lie that says you must be impressive to be embraced. Divine power flows not because of your strength, but because of your surrender. And this morning, as you release the shame, heaven rushes in. You are the kind of soul Jesus draws near to, not the ones who perform, but the ones who finally admit they can't. That's where awakening begins. Whisper this with trembling trust. Lord, I've believed the lie that I'm too weak. I've tried to hide what you already see. Today, I stop pretending and start trusting. Use me, not in spite of my weakness, but through it. Let your power be made perfect in me. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. There are mornings when direction feels like a stranger. You wake up surrounded by fog, emotionally, spiritually, and the clarity you once held has slipped through your fingers. You don't feel guided, you feel lost. But Psalm 23 doesn't say, I feel led. It says, He leadeth me. That is not a suggestion, it is a promise. And promises aren't based on emotions. They are rooted in God's unchanging nature. Divine power doesn't require you to feel spiritual in order to be at work. It only asks that you believe the shepherd hasn't stopped walking, even when you can't feel his footsteps. This morning, God's message is tender but clear. I have not left you. You may not see the map, you may not hear the next instruction, but the path is still before you, and the shepherd is still ahead. Psalm 23 assures you that he leads beside still waters, not just once, but again and again. His leading is not a one-time offer, it's a continual act of grace. Lisa Bevere once shared that the presence of God is often most faithful when we feel most uncertain, because uncertainty exposes what emotions can't carry, the weight of trust. You don't have to feel your way forward today. You have to trust, and trust is the sacred defiance of fear. It says, even when I don't feel it, I believe it. The shepherd doesn't stop just because your senses go silent. His leadership is not dictated by your clarity. It's driven by his covenant, and his covenant is still intact. Divine power is not loud in these moments. It's a whisper, a quiet voice through the fog that says, keep walking, I'm still here. Trust in God means walking forward, not because you feel ready, but because you know he's already ahead of you. You are not forgotten on this path. You are being led, even when you don't feel led. And sometimes, that quiet trust becomes the loudest form of faith. Pray this quietly. Lord, I can't feel where you're leading me, but I believe you haven't stopped. I choose to trust that you go before me, even in silence. Lead me beside still waters again. And when I can't hear you, help me follow you by faith. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. You may not feel like anything is happening, but deep within you, something is already stirring. Not because you forced it, not because you earned it, but because Jesus is still doing what he has always done, calling life out of what seems lost. When he walked among us, people didn't awaken by their own effort. They were awakened by his voice. He stood beside a lifeless girl and whispered, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." He called out to a man already buried in a tomb, "Lazarus, come forth." And today, yes, this very morning, he is speaking just as tenderly over you. Wake up, beloved. I'm not done. You may feel too numb, too tired, too spiritually silent. But divine power does not depend on emotional energy. It moves in the places your soul has abandoned. Trust in God doesn't mean forcing revival. It means believing that Jesus speaks even when you can't. T.D. Jakes reminds us that resurrection always follows stillness. And if you're in the quiet now, you're simply in the prelude of something sacred. Don't underestimate what's happening in the silence. Don't confuse stillness for stagnation. Awakening is already at work, because the one who holds you has never stopped speaking. Spiritual awakening isn't about hype, it's about being loved into wholeness. And Jesus, the one who knows every weary part of you, still calls your name, not to shame you awake, but to breathe you alive. The same voice that shaped creation now calls into your heart, rise. You are not forgotten, you are not disqualified, you are not too far, you are his. And he is still whispering, still healing, still awakening you from the inside out. Trust in God means allowing yourself to be loved where you thought you were unreachable. Divine power does not ask you to prove yourself. It meets you in the very place you stopped trying. You are not just moving through a hard season, you are being carried through a sacred transformation. And it is Jesus who is doing the carrying. Whisper this with faith. Jesus, awaken me again. I give you permission to call me out of this spiritual sleep. I don't need a loud sign. Just the sound of your love is enough. Breathe into me and I will rise. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. We often wait for emotions to convince us before we trust God. We want to feel ready, inspired, secure. But trust doesn't begin with a feeling. It begins with a choice. It's not a mood. It's a movement of the heart that whispers, I believe you, God, even when the feelings are nowhere to be found. Some of the strongest acts of faith happen not in moments of clarity, but in moments of quiet decision. That's where awakening begins. Psalm 91 doesn't say, "When I feel covered." It says, "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress." That's not emotional overflow. It's intentional declaration. It's what happens when your soul speaks louder than your senses. This morning, let your trust rise, not because everything feels right, but because you know God is still good. Pope Leo XIV once wrote, "A soul who decides to trust in the dark holds more faith than one who praises in the light." That is you today. That is faith that breathes, even when it trembles. You may not feel goosebumps. You may not feel near to God, but your trust still counts. In fact, it counts more in the silence, because divine power begins to flow the moment you stop waiting for emotions to validate it and start walking in the truth that already stands. Trust is not about certainty. It's about commitment. It's the soul's way of saying, "I believe anyway." And God meets you there, not when you feel the most spiritual, but when you decide He's worthy of your yes, even when everything else is quiet. Trust in God is not just for days when everything makes sense. It's for mornings like this, when everything feels still, yet something within you chooses to believe anyway. That is not weak faith. That is warrior faith. That is the kind of trust that awakens even the most weary soul. Pray this quietly but firmly. God, I may not feel much today, but I choose to trust you. I trust that you are who you say you are. I trust that your power is real. I trust that you are working in me. Help my heart catch up to my decision. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. Sometimes it feels like your soul is caught in a loop, circling the same thoughts, praying the same prayers, waiting for a sign that never seems to come. You wonder, did I miss something? Am I falling behind? Why does everything feel stuck? But this morning, God speaks with gentle assurance. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. The enemy wants you to equate stillness with failure. But stillness is not stagnation. It's sacred. It's soil. Divine power doesn't rush, doesn't panic, and never shames. It shapes. It settles. It roots you in silence so you'll bear fruit in the right season. What looks like spiritual pause is often divine precision. Trusting God isn't passive waiting. It's active surrender to the quiet work beneath the surface. Psalm 91 reminds us that we abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Abide. That's not a word for the stuck. It's a word for the planted. You are not lost in delay. You are immersed in design. And design takes time. Dr. Anita Phillips says, healing often starts in places we label as stuck. What we call numb, God calls necessary. What we call delay, heaven calls divine development. And Psalm 23, it tells us He leads us beside still waters for a reason. Restoration doesn't shout. It whispers. It needs space. And sometimes it disguises itself as inactivity when in fact your roots are growing deeper than ever before. So don't curse your stillness. Bless it. Don't resent the pause. Receive it. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Trust that what God is shaping in silence is stronger than what striving could ever build. Trust in God means releasing the pressure to move and embracing the process to grow. Divine power is not delayed, it's deliberate. And this morning you are exactly where grace is doing its quiet work. Speak this aloud today. Father, I've felt stuck. I've questioned if I've gone numb or fallen behind. But I believe that even now you are shaping me. I trust that stillness doesn't mean failure. Let your power work deeply within me, where I cannot see. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me, even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today, instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. But awakenings don't always come with trumpets. Sometimes they arrive like dawn, slow, quiet, gentle. You don't always feel the shift while it's happening, but something sacred begins to stir, even in the silence. A breath, a flicker of hope, a subtle softening in a place that used to feel hard. And that's no less a miracle than the loud ones. This morning, God's message is this. You don't have to wait for something dramatic to believe something divine is happening. Divine power doesn't always shake the ground. It often enters like sunrise, overtaking the dark without a sound. Sometimes Jesus healed with a word and the miracle happened instantly. But other times, he touched in stages. He saw the unseen work and honored it. And today, so should you. Psalm 91 says you abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Abide doesn't mean sprint, it means stay, remain, be held. And in that sacred stillness, things grow, roots deepen, light creeps in. Pope Leo the Catholic once wrote, "The soul deepens more in seasons of gentle light than in flashes of brilliance." Don't discount your awakening because it didn't feel dramatic. If you whispered a prayer when you didn't want to, that's awakening. If you turned your attention toward God even once today, that's awakening. If you're listening now, that's awakening. Heaven doesn't wait for applause to celebrate transformation. It rejoices over every small return. Spiritual growth isn't always marked by fireworks. It's often measured in quiet faithfulness, in the way you keep showing up even when you feel nothing, in the way your soul begins to turn, like the earth toward morning light. And that matters. That counts. That moves heaven. Trust in God doesn't mean you wait for fireworks. It means you believe in His presence, even when it's whispering instead of roaring. Divine power isn't always loud. It's lasting. It doesn't need volume to bring victory. And today, that same quiet strength is rising within you. Pause and say this with tenderness. Lord, I may not feel like I've changed, but I believe you're changing me. Let me not miss the beauty of what's growing because I expected it to be louder. Let me honor the quiet miracle you're working in me. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me, even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today, instead of trying to create it. Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. Pope Leo XII once wrote, "The soul that surrenders in silence will awaken with strength, for faith moves while you sleep." There is a divine mystery in those words, a gentle truth for every weary heart that wonders if rest means falling behind. The truth is, faith doesn't require your full awareness to operate. Divine power is not held back by your exhaustion, nor delayed by your lack of emotional clarity. God often moves most when you least expect it, when you're sleeping, sighing, resting, and simply letting go. This morning, receive this as a gift. You are not behind just because you are still. Psalm 91 says you dwell in the shelter of the Most High, not the battlefield, not the performance stage, not the treadmill of spiritual effort, but the shelter. And in that shelter, things shift. Rest is not spiritual inactivity. It's holy alignment. When you surrender, God restores. When you stop striving, He starts strengthening. This is not a paradox, it's the pattern of grace. Jesus slept through a storm, not because He didn't care, but because He trusted the one who commands the waves. And you are invited into that same trust. Spiritual awakening is not just found in your declarations, disciplines, or dramatic moments. It is also found in your surrender, in your breath, in your quiet yes, in your willingness to stop trying to grow and simply allow God to work beneath the surface. You don't force your heartbeat. You don't control the way your lungs breathe through the night. And your spirit, it too can be carried. Just as a seed grows in soil long before it ever breaks the surface, you are being transformed even when it feels like nothing is happening. Your rest is not wasted. It is prophetic. It is sacred. It is fertile. Trust in God does not mean you never stop moving. It means you know when to be still and let Him take over. Divine power moves in your stillness as surely as it moves in your steps. Pray this gently. God, thank you that even in my sleep you are faithful. I surrender the need to control my growth. I release the guilt of resting. I trust that you're working while I breathe, while I sleep, while I wait. Thank you for being that kind of Father. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today? Even if I don't feel inspired, can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. You don't need to perform to access divine power. You don't have to earn your awakening through eloquent prayers or perfectly structured devotionals. The kingdom of God was never built on performance. It was always built on presence. God isn't waiting to be impressed. He's waiting to be welcomed. And this morning, His message to your soul is tender and clear. You are already welcome. You do not have to audition for grace. Psalm 91 says, "He shall call upon me, and I will answer him." It doesn't say, if he performs. It says simply, if he calls. That's the posture God honors. Not spiritual perfection, but sacred openness. Trust in God doesn't begin when you've cleaned yourself up. It begins the moment you stop trying to earn what's already yours. Jesus didn't die for polished people. He died for the broken, and he rose again, not to place pressure on you, but to pour out power in the very places you feel least worthy. Pope Leo XIV once wrote that the most powerful awakenings often come to those who feel the least qualified. Why? Because performance creates pressure, but grace flows into emptiness, into honesty, into surrender. So if all you have today is one honest whisper, "God, I need you," that's more than enough. Heaven is not looking for eloquence, it's looking for truth. Divine power is not activated by your spiritual vocabulary. It's released when your heart stops pretending and simply shows up. Trust in God means showing up without the mask, without the script, without the pressure to perform. Because God sees through all that anyway, and he chooses to draw near. His power is not poured out on the perfect, but on the present. Not on the spiritual performers, but on the surrendered. And today, that surrender is enough. Pray this without pressure. Lord, I've tried to earn what you give freely. I've performed out of fear, not faith. Today I stop. I simply come. I bring nothing but my open heart, and I trust that's enough for you. Let your power fill the space I've tried to fill on my own. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me, even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today, instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1, "Fear not, for I am with you." Isaiah 41:10, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12:9, God says, "You are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you." If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. There are seasons where your spirit feels dormant, quiet, dry, uneventful. You wake up, search for signs of movement, and find none. It's tempting to believe that nothing is growing, that you've stalled, that maybe something in you has shut down for good. But this morning, God's voice breaks through that assumption with gentle truth. What you call dormant, I call prepared. In nature, the richest transformation happens beneath the surface. Roots deepen in the dark. Soil softens in the silence. What looks still is often where life is being most carefully formed, and your soul is no different. Divine power does not require noise to be active. It does not operate on your timeline. God is never late, and he is never rushed. Psalm 91 invites us to abide, and abiding isn't passive, it's posture. It's choosing to remain in faith even when growth is invisible, even when emotions are quiet, even when you feel unproductive. Today's awakening isn't about doing more, it's about seeing differently. Trust in God is learning to call hidden seasons holy, to believe that what looks like spiritual sleep might be spiritual soil. Pope Leo XIV once said, "What appears lifeless in the soul is often the garden where God is growing strength." So maybe the numbness isn't emptiness, maybe it's depth. Maybe your tears weren't wasted, they were watering ground for something's sake. Maybe your waiting wasn't delay, it was design, woven into the becoming of who you truly are. So release the judgment, silence the inner critic, stop demanding to see instant results. Divine power is not asking for spiritual hustle. It's asking for agreement. Agree with God that this moment, yes, this quiet, silent, low-feeling moment is not the end. It's the holy beginning of something rooted and real. You are not stuck in inactivity. You are surrendered to preparation. And in God's hands, that is holy ground. Pray this over your silence. Lord, I've looked at myself and seen a barren field, but you see good soil. Help me trust that this dormant place is not a failure, but a preparation. I surrender to the process, even when it feels empty. Grow what I cannot yet see. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me, even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. This morning, let the truth of Ephesians 3:20 breathe fresh hope into your spirit. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think. You may not feel the shift. You may not see the breakthrough. But just because you can't trace God doesn't mean he isn't working. He is, quietly, deeply, masterfully, doing more than you could ever ask, dream, or imagine. Spiritual awakening isn't always visible from the inside. Often it feels slow, subtle, or even invisible. But divine power doesn't wait for your recognition to begin its work. God isn't limited by what you understand. He moves in mystery, in mercy, in layers you can't yet see. Trust in God means anchoring your faith in His capacity, not your clarity. Right now, beneath the surface of your day, your doubts, your delay, He is weaving something glorious. The roots of your awakening are growing underground. The pieces are aligning. The preparation for your next season is unfolding, even if your eyes haven't caught up yet. Pope Leo the Course once said, "What appears delayed in time is often accelerated in eternity." God is not slow. He's strategic. He's thinking your inner transformation with His eternal purpose. Today, release the pressure to understand the plan. Let go of the need to see immediate results. You don't need to have the full picture to believe in the masterpiece. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean there isn't momentum. You are not forgotten. You are not on hold. You are in progress. Holy, heavenly progress. Divine power is alive even in hidden seasons. You can't always feel fruit growing, but it doesn't mean the vine is empty. God's hand is never idle when your heart is open. Whisper this with your whole heart. God, I don't see it, but I trust You're working. I don't feel it, but I trust You're near. Thank You for doing more than I could ever ask, dream, or imagine. Help me surrender my limited vision to Your limitless power. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me, even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today, instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Psalm Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. We often see our weakness as the reason we're stuck, the barrier between us and breakthrough, the thing that disqualifies us from spiritual awakening. But this morning, God flips that narrative. His message is simple and liberating. Your weakness is not a wall, it's a doorway. What if the very space where you feel the most unqualified is where God's divine power longs to pour in most freely? What if the place you've been trying to hide is actually the place where heaven intends to meet you? Scripture never hides weakness, it elevates it. The Apostle Paul confessed, "When I am weak, then am I strong," not because he romanticized struggle, but because he recognized that weakness is the honest soil where surrender grows. Your weakness is where striving finally ends, where the pressure to be impressive collapses, and where real dependence begins. Psalm 91 doesn't say, "He who is strong enough shall abide." It says, "He who dwells." Dwelling isn't performance, it's presence, it's staying close, even when you feel inadequate, even when all you have to offer is honesty. Pope Leo XIV once said, "Grace walks most powerfully through the door of the humbled soul." And that is what your weakness really is. Not a flaw, but a threshold. Not a sign of failure, but an opening for divine strength. Don't resist your limitation. Reframe it. Let your frailty become your faith space. Every place that feels too empty might be the place God is about to fill. You are not disqualified by your humanity. You are being invited into something deeper, something holier, something far more powerful than anything you could perform your way into. And the ink on that invitation? It's called mercy. Divine power is not about being impressive. It's about being real. It's about letting God be God in the very space you thought disqualified you from His presence. You don't have to fix your weakness, you just have to open it. Pray this with bold humility. God, I feel weak in this season, but I no longer see that as a sign of defeat. I bring you my weakness as an offering. Let it be the doorway through which you walk in power. Fill the space I cannot fill, be my strength. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? When does God suppress His power? In Viva Igoris, who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. This is not just another morning. This is a sacred moment, your spiritual rising. Not because you feel different, not because everything suddenly makes sense, but because something inside you dares to believe again. After the silence, after the stillness, after all the numbness and doubt, something sacred is stirring. Divine power has never stopped moving. It's been working beneath your fear, under your fatigue, quietly beneath your striving, and now it begins to rise. Spiritual awakening doesn't always arrive like lightning. Sometimes it comes as a steady breath, a soft yes, a whisper of surrender. It's not flashy, it's faithful. Psalm 91 reminds you that you dwell under the shadow of the Almighty, not occasionally, but continually. Even in your quietest hour, you have not been forgotten. Psalm 23 says, "He restores my soul, not because you prayed perfectly, but because your shepherd is faithful." God's message for you today is tender and powerful. You're not just waking up. You're rising into who you were always meant to be. The fog is lifting, not all at once, but just enough for you to take one step. And that's what rising looks like. One faithful movement. One simple trust. One more moment of courage. You don't need to see the whole future. You only need to believe that your now, right here, right where you are, is already full of divine power. Pope Leo XXVI once wrote, "Every rising begins with a whisper in the soul that says, 'Try again.'" So here it is, that whisper, try again, rise again, believe again, breathe again, trust again, love again. Because the same Spirit that raised Christ from the grave is now stirring in you. Pray this aloud with hope. Father, let this morning be my rising, not because everything makes sense, but because I trust you. Awaken my heart, strengthen my spirit. Let me walk in the truth that I am already being lifted. Thank you for not giving up on me. When was the last time I allowed myself to be spiritually still without guilt? What pressure have I been carrying to feel spiritual instead of simply being present? What does trust in God look like for me today, even if I don't feel inspired? Can I believe that divine power is at work in me, even when I feel nothing? What would it look like to receive God's power today instead of trying to create it? Who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91:1. Fear not, for I am with you. Isaiah 41:10. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. God says, you are not late, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. I am already awakening you. If this morning prayer met you in your silence, take a moment to journal, to speak aloud your surrender, or to send this message to someone still waiting to feel worthy. Grace is already moving. Let it lead. Now that you've walked through this sacred space of morning prayer, pause. Breathe. Let your soul settle and listen not to the noise of the world, but to the echo of heaven within. You haven't just listened to words. You've moved through a sacred rhythm, through silence, surrender, awakening, and trust. And now it's time to seal it. Not with pressure, but with peace. Not with doing, but with being. Reflection is how we hold on to what heaven whispers. It's how we let divine power take root in our reality. And here is what God wants you to carry today. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are rising, slowly, gently, faithfully. Jesus is already near. The awakening has already begun. This journey wasn't just inspiration, it was invitation. A call to see your weakness as sacred, your stillness as preparation, your trust as more than enough. You don't have to force anything. You only need to receive. Pray this final prayer with peace. Lord, I receive all that you've stirred in me today. I won't try to earn it. I won't question it. I simply hold it with gratitude. Thank you for loving me through silence. Thank you for awakening what I thought was lost. I walk forward in trust, in peace, and in you. This is your benediction, not the end, but a new beginning, the first step of a new rhythm, trusting without striving. The first step of a new rhythm, trusting without striving, walking without fear, abiding without performing. You are not the same as when you started. Your soul has risen, and divine power is alive within you. What is one truth from this morning that I will carry into my day? Where in my life do I need to keep trusting that awakening is still unfolding? How can I support others who may feel stuck or spiritually numb today? Shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. Psalm 91:4. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly. Ephesians 3:20. Write this down, speak it over yourself. Let it shape how you walk through the rest of this day. I walk forward, awakened in trust. You are not who you were. You are who God is forming. Let this day be holy, let this moment be sacred, and let your rising continue. God goes with you, always.